You ready?
Yes.
We're recording. All right, all right. We're back for another episode of the Bad Ideas podcast with one of my favorite people in the entire world, Luana Andrade. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I missed you. So just to be here and talk to you, I'm really excited.
Uh, so for those who don't know, and like basically everybody I know does know, but for those who don't know, Lou and I ran Pinchworth for 3 years, 3.5 years together.
Yeah.
Um, and what you're about to hear was kind of like a daily occurrence. We just like talk about totally random things. And Lou was a big inspiration to the show, so it's really excited to have her back. And you're now the CEO at Map Matrix. Um, Tell us about what you guys do and what you're building.
Yeah. So mathematics came from
Oh,
conversation.
Maddox, not Matrix. Maddox,
Mathematics. Yeah.
a Matrix.
Mathematics.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the name itself is already a challenge. It's a puzzle,
Yeah.
basically, that people are trying to figure out. But the company was born from a conversation. I was working for a financial company, supporting them with the tech stack and their operations and how was talking to each other, and to make it more efficient and to help them optimize as much as they could. And the CMO of that company started talking to me outside of the company, and we tried to do some other businesses. He was helping some other people with their businesses and needed some help with like having ideas. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm
Dissect.
up for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he thought my ideas were really good. So we kept doing that. And then one night, I think it was like a Friday night, we were talking and he was like, I really want to open my own company. I really want to do my own thing. And I said, hey, I have this business idea based on a company that I worked with a long time ago, but I really liked their business model and I wanted to do it right because they did it really wrong. And I always thought someone needed to do it right because it has a lot of potential. And he was like, why didn't you do it? And I was like, because I don't like doing things by myself. So I needed someone who wanted to do it too. And he's like, okay, let's do it. And that was basically month one, day one of mathematics. And during the first month, it was just me and Matt. And Matt was like doing all the business, all the financing, all the prospecting part of the business. And I was the only developer and also the only project manager and the only everything else. So it was just both. And now we are a team of like 15 people and I'm actually looking for office space to
There
put the
you go.
developers in. Yeah. So yeah,
Congrats.
it's been amazing 5 months.
Yeah. So that sounds like a really good idea and a good primer here. Because on our show we only look at really bad ideas and we'll try to spin them into something good. Are you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So you've seen, I mean, this is kind of like old school coffee discussion at Pinchforth, but we're going to look at this bad idea. We'll make fun of it for a couple minutes, and then we'll try to see if we can make it something good. And try as hard as we can not to start a company on the show. Sound good?
I'll try my best. I can't
All
guarantee that.
right, cool, cool. So our bad idea today is AI performance review software, a tongue-in-cheek AI program that generates unpredictable performance reviews based on its own proprietary data set, keeps the team on its toes. What do you think?
Ooh, I actually don't think it's a bad idea
Why? Why? Explain.
because I'm pretty sure someone is already doing it. I don't doubt it. AI right now, I work in the tech world, right? So people are always asking us about softwares or talking about new softwares that they found. And I'm constantly finding out these new AI softwares. And literally at this point, people are doing AI dating, AI
Yep.
everything. They no longer go to doctors because they have AI, and in AI they trust. It became their god. I would actually not be surprised if I saw like a Forbes 500 company doing team performance review using AI. I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised. And actually, I can already see how it will work. You would get like the calendar data. If you look at Google Calendar, there's already kind of an AI behind it. It already tells you how much time you're spending on meetings. What is your
Hmm.
average? How many meetings you are doing per week? So all these single softwares that we use right now actually already collect all the data in a way that an AI could analyze easily. Literally, you could get your navigation history, you could get your Google Calendar, and you could get like your Slack and process to like ChatGPT, and it will tell you you are lazy as hell. Or it will tell you like
Yeah.
something like that. I'm pretty sure.
So
Or it
that
will tell you, hey, you slept too much. You could have done 18 more calls that week if you didn't
yeah.
sleep.
Yeah, you had 3 extra coffees. That's
Exactly.
that's why I actually kind of think this is a bad idea. 'Cause, I mean, you're scaling a team, so you're dealing with a lot of the people
Yeah.
problems in business. I think um, there are a few like exceptional people like you who find ways to keep themselves busy regardless of what's on their plate. So it's always a privilege to work with those. But I think most people I mean, it's one of the joys of business, right? Most people want a job that sets them up to do like two or three things really, really well and allows them to make all the money they could possibly need to take care of their life and live their life just for performing kind of those tasks. I think like that's the business trade, right? Like we come up with a customer base, we come up with demand, and then we come up with roles for people.
Yeah.
And like as much as we're compensating folks, we're also trying to make it easy for them to earn their income and deliver the stuff that we
Yeah.
want. And what pops into my mind when I look at this is it's going to be so brutal. Like it's going to look for areas where they could do more, and everyone in theory could do more. But it would make it really difficult for people to kind of settle in to something and get into a routine that they really want. And the business ultimately really wants too, because you want a lot of people being super productive in the easiest possible way. That's kind of like I'm stealing that from Henry Ford. And this would constantly try to push you, right? Um, and I don't think people would like it.
Yeah, that's why I love business, because if we are being completely rational here, it's a terrible idea for humanity. It's a terrible idea as human beings, but business wise, it's an idea that people would buy. It's an idea that companies would definitely pay for. So it's a good business idea. It's a terrible humanitarian solution in
Yeah.
general. It's definitely something that I would not use myself.
Yeah.
And my team would kill me if I tried that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they would. They know where I live. They would come
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
But I think it's a business solution that we could create and sell for sure.
Yeah. Interesting. So, but maybe it's more of like an analytics platform instead of a proper review platform.
Yeah.
So it reports to management instead of reporting directly to the people. Um,
Yeah. I think it's like, these are your best assets. This is how I'm picturing. Okay.
yeah.
I arrive Monday morning at the office. I open my computer. I'm the COO. So I'm looking at all the teams, all the
Yeah.
departments, everyone working, what they build, what was the work delivered, and looking at all that. Then instead of looking individually, I have this AI that'll spit out for me. Hey, last week, these were the best assets you had, human wise. And this is how much they work, and this is how much they delivered. And, these were the worst. And this is how much time they spent, and this is how much they delivered. So I think it can be like an operations assistant, a human resource / operations assistant. That was basically, it's a great like human resource and operations assistant.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not a performance review tool. It's like a reporting tool for
Yeah.
you to see what productivity looks like. And then like how do you put that into practice? So you find out that like one of your most talented hires is only giving you 10% of their effort in the time you're paying for. What do you
Yeah.
do?
Well, it all depends, because I think what sometimes we forget is that there's the human component. So
Yeah.
if my best performer is giving 10%, but that is generating like 40% of the revenue from that department, or from the deliverables from that department, then it doesn't matter what he's doing with the other 90% of his time,
Yeah.
because he is delivering the value you are paying him for. And then the conversation becomes about, okay, why does he only use like 10% of his effort? Why doesn't he do more? And that's a conversation you would have with him to understand. Is it because he literally doesn't have anything else to do? Is it because with 10% he's already able to do everything that is on his plate? Is it
Hmm.
because he needs to be challenged more? So
Hmm.
it's a conversation about the human aspect of it. Because what I always say to my team is, I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you spend your whole day watching SpongeBob. For all I care, you can do whatever you want as long as you deliver everything I ask you for.
Hmm.
So, and that's what I try to keep in mind, because each brain is so unique and we work so differently.
Hmm.
And some people need different, how can I say?
Structures,
Yeah,
structures,
need
frameworks.
different
Yeah.
structures. Yeah, exactly. To be able to deliver. Some people, I know someone who literally cannot work. Like their brain doesn't work unless they are listening to like a cartoon or something. And it's something to do with like his psychology. He feels comfortable and he feels like he's not under pressure when he's like listening to cartoons. So he literally has like a screen just playing cartoons all day. But
Hmm.
he's a freaking genius and he can do marvelous things and he can deliver
Yeah.
things very quickly. So
As long as he
if
has his
he,
cartoon.
exactly. So like, who am I to freaking tell him that he can't watch his cartoon during work?
Yeah.
He is delivering every day. Who
So
am I
you're
to tell him how to do it?
you're giving me a potentially bad idea, potentially good idea. What if what if the AI's job isn't to evaluate the person or the candidate? It's to like kind of train the manager to focus on the output. Because I think what you're talking about is interesting. Like, sales, this is a big deal. You and I have a lot of experience there, but sales managers get overly focused on the input metrics, like how many people are you calling, how many meetings do you have, how many of those are like turning into business, what's the close rate. But anyone who's worked on the sales floor knows that everyone kind of closes in a different way. Um, for those who haven't worked with Luana, she like talks to people and business just falls out of the sky, which is very unique to her. I don't know how she does it, but like other people need to make 200 phone calls a day to produce the same thing. And like maybe that's the real value. It's a performance review software that actually focuses you on the outputs. And it's designed to distract you from the input. So like to hide the fact that your top performer is watching cartoons all day, or your top salesperson's only making one or two phone calls, and focus you exclusively on the fact that they're like beating their targets and their production is really good. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And here's another crazy idea.
Yeah.
I use an app to track my sleep. And one
Yeah.
of the things that it does, it tracks like all the things I did before I sleep
Yeah.
to tell me what are the behaviors that lead to my best nights of
Sleep.
sleep.
Yeah.
What if the AI was actually tracking my behaviors to tell me, hey, when you do these things, this is when you have the most productive day.
Ah, interesting.
See?
So like what are the ingredients to output?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have
I
we
mean,
never wondered? Have we never asked ourselves, I had such a killer day today. What is like the difference between the other days? Why can't I have this day every day?
because you don't have time. You have to wake up and do whatever presents itself to you the next day. That's a really good idea. And that's something AI is uniquely positioned to do because it can track and read
Exactly.
everything in real time.
Yeah.
That's
But
a good
that means literally letting AI track everything you do. It means be on your
idea.
computer, your cell phone, your watch every day.
How do you feel about that?
I actually had a big discussion this week with the team. We were discussing options for softwares to track our the time for the
Hmm.
team. And we
Yeah.
used one specific software, but we wanted something more reliable, which means less privacy, right?
Yeah.
We managing remote teams, we know that it's always trying to balance out. We want
Yeah.
to know everything they are doing, but at the same time, we want to let them, have their privacy because
Uh-huh.
they are at their home. They are using their computer. So there's like a limit. And we were having this conversation. We found this app that literally tracked every single thing you did. So as long as you are like tracking time, it would track every action, everything you went through, every website, every freaking file, everything you did. And the
Yeah.
team was like, no, that's so invasive. And the
Yeah,
first thing that I thought was, because we both work in marketing, we know how much data we can get from people
yeah,
and that they
yeah,
have no clue.
yeah,
And I was like, this is so funny because every day everyone is giving access to everything and they
yeah.
don't think twice about it.
Hmm.
But when you actually explicitly tell them that you're going to
Hmm.
do it, then they get scared. They don't care
Yeah.
as long as they don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's Google's MO, right? Like, oh, I'm searching for things. Nobody's watching what I'm doing or building a psychological profile of me.
Exactly.
The same thing
Yeah.
with ChatGPT. It's only $20 a month. Is it $20 a month, or are they
Yeah.
remapping the way that you think?
Yeah.
Um,
Which brings me to what I'm very excited about, which
yeah,
is Google's AI, because
yeah.
who has a bigger database than them to build an
That's an
AI?
optimistic way to look at it. It's also creepy, though. I don't
Yeah, it's
know. I
creepy
think,
as hell, but like there are two aspects. There is like human Luana is like, this is so wrong. And
yeah,
then there is business Luana, which the first thing that I think is, this is amazing. I wish I had thought about it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good idea. Yeah, that's kind of the poles I bounce back and forth between. On the one hand, it's like it's amazing to have access to all this information. On the other hand, it's creepy that someone else also has access to it. So it's like hedging fear against the productivity boost that you get from having access to this stuff. So, I mean, where did you net out on the tracking software? Did the team agree, or did you guys get too much pushback?
They weren't too happy, so we are actually going to a brick and mortar office. That's how I'm gonna keep eyes on them.
You're going to be physically there? Well, that'll do it.
Yeah.
The
What?
old school performance tracking.
Exactly. Yeah. And also I've been working remotely for what, 8 years now? About
Yeah.
8 years now. And although it's amazing, very comfortable, and I do think it's a very successful model for companies to use, there's something about the human aspect of having people at least like twice a week inside an office together working and, helping each other that is so different than remotely.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just the energy. I mean, I led marketing for a startup before starting Pinchforth, and I was always the first one in. Like I opened the office every single day of the week, and
That
people would
sounds
come
like
in and
you.
yeah, it's me, right? And I'd be super locked in to work, and my team would all sit around me, and it was like because I was locked in, they would be locked in, and even without having a conversation about who was doing what, like people would just intrinsically come in and like sit down and get to work because they kind of, I was there sitting with them, kind of also doing the same thing, and I think that culture aspect really does bleed through. So it's funny
Yeah.
we're bringing this full circle from an AI performance review and solving performance with a physical office. Like we're going old
It's
school
total
out of the virtual
opposite.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you, I love the idea of turning that initial bad idea into an app that will actually help you identify key habits, key behaviors that you have that actually lead to you being productive.
yeah,
I'll pay for it. I pay for
yeah,
my sleep coaching thing. I'll pay for
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of businesses would too. I think like every operations leader though that's spent the last couple decades building processes for their business would absolutely hate this because I mean the way process works now, at least as I understand it, because my processes are but the way it works now is you kind of like lay out a plan of how you want everything to work, and then you put people into the plan. And what this would do is it would kind of look for the outcomes that you want to happen, and then
Yeah.
map the behavior that people take that produce those outcomes. So it's like
Yeah.
inverting the whole experience. A lot of old cranky people would be very disappointed with the
Yeah.
outcomes.
And I think it's the price you pay for something amazing. And what I mean by that is the more I work with different people, the more I manage different teams, the thing that I'm learning is it's very easy to find a lot of people that you can just give them a to-do list, which is a process for me is basically a to-do list. You tell people
Yeah,
how they should do things and they just follow that every day.
yeah,
They get to work, they have a task and they follow that SOP
yeah,
telling them how to do that. But then those are the regular people. They'll get the job done. But then the amazing, extraordinary people that you're going to meet, the employees that are like a dream, that do amazing things, but are also a pain in the ass, because we know the more intelligent an employee is, the more of a pain in the ass they are. But that's the price, I mean. But for those ones that are extraordinary, they don't fit those to-do lists.
Hmm.
They do
Yeah.
things in a very particular way. Their brain
Yeah.
works in a very singular way. They do things in a very singular way. And the more you try to interfere with their own processes, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
Because it no longer is about setting up processes for them to follow. It's about what are the structure and like the things around them that I need to set up to make sure that they keep doing the magic things they can do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think the more we are trying to advance and automatize, the more we are forgetting that. And that's something I see a lot in our job, because
Mm.
our company basically is a bridge, right? We get all these companies that are paying thousands of dollars in subscriptions for softwares, but have no clue how to take advantage of those softwares to do exactly what they have
In
envisioned.
their head. Yeah.
Exactly. And then we come in and we are like, okay, this is what you have. This is what you dream of. This is how we make it happen. And a lot of times what we see is people are trying to just make everything uniform, make everything the same, make all the operations run the same way, make all the cars be the same and the motors run the same way. And although that pays our salaries, it always makes me wonder, aren't we slowly killing the extraordinary, the X factor
Yeah.
behind brilliant people when we try
Mm.
to force them to follow these processes?
Hmm.
Which
Yeah.
I
And that,
think is why the software is a great idea, because it will suddenly show everyone that
yeah.
the extraordinary results actually come from not the processes, but from
Yeah.
the own singular processes that each individual has.
Yeah. That's really interesting. It's like I mean, AI is effectively pattern recognition, right? At
Yep.
this point, people think that it's this generative brain, but it's just mathematical pattern recognition. But thinking about use, I mean, exactly what you're saying, taking a standardized space and allowing it to be kind of decentralized, to use a buzzword, to like allow it to be a little different, be a little fluid, and then using the power of AI to identify those patterns down to an individual person, effectively down to an individual task level. So you can almost kind of create your own process maps for every person, and you can use a machine to do it. I mean, that doesn't seem like it'd be that hard to do. It's a pretty simple data set. I
Yeah.
think yeah, maybe you guys can add
Maybe we
this as
can
a
do
spin
it.
out software.
We actually have an AI concept that we want to build.
Yeah.
We are too busy right now to try to do another business,
Yeah.
but we do have an AI idea that is our end goal. Uh, and yeah, hopefully we'll get there at the end of this year. At least that's the plan. But
There you
you
go.
know what they say about plans.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to start moving on them or they die.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting. All right. So final verdict. So we think AI performance review software from a human perspective is bad. From a management perspective is very good. We think people would pay for it, even though it's kind of non-human acceptable. But we think it could be made into a good idea because the analytics it provides are really valuable. So if it wasn't used for reviews, but was used for analytics, it would kind of remove the human pain and still maintain like the analytics. And then I think the last point that you just made was exceptional value could be gleaned from identifying patterns that unique people take to get productivity, out of their work effort. Does
Yeah.
that sound accurate? What do you think?
Yes. Yes. And most of all, I think something like that could prove why I keep telling people that they shouldn't worry about AI replacing them. Because people think the AI is this big bad brain that is like a genius, is a freaking Einstein who will solve all the world's problems. When in reality, it's exactly what you said. It just recognizes patterns. It's just a mathematical tool. It
Mhm.
doesn't actually think for itself. It doesn't actually come up with ideas. But when you start reviewing the actual exceptional people, everyone will soon find out that there are no patterns. that each individual, they live their own very chaotic
Hmm.
uh, life that leads to them doing amazing things, but it's very individual and singular to each of them, which then proves that, pattern recognition is not going to solve the problem of replacing those extraordinary people because they are totally out of pattern. That's
Yeah.
the thing that defines them as extraordinary. And that
Yeah.
AI can't do. It can
Hmm.
only follow patterns. It can't
Yeah.
just out of the blue create a new one.
Yeah, or show you their pattern so you can help them
Exactly.
do more of what they do well. This is very deep, but very
Look
interesting.
at
I
us.
expected nothing less. What so how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your business or follow you for your AI? How do they
Yeah. Well, we have a website. It's mathematics.com. And we also are on LinkedIn that Nick makes fun of me for the way I pronounce since I remember
Yeah.
saying it for the first time.
But you nailed it. You nailed it. It's on record.
Yeah, that's because the current people that work with me do a lot of bullying because of the way I say it. And I'm trying to fix that so
Oh, so
they
you can't
stop.
blame me. I didn't bully you. I just made fun of you for
You
it.
traumatized me, Nick.
Yeah, no, no, no. Well, thank you so much for coming on. So we'll put up a link to your website. We'll link out to your LinkedIn too, so people can talk to you and follow closely for your AI product at the end of the year. That maybe will mirror this idea. Who knows?
Who knows?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was amazing to be here. I really miss Pinchforth. I miss you guys. I miss the family. And I hope
Yeah,
we can talk again soon.
yeah. We'll do this again soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.